Well, I'm going to give you one reason that I think Hillary Clinton's going to win the next election, and maybe the election after that too. One word: oil. Oil. She's a player, man. She's going to play in with the ball with the big boys. She's a badass in this way. She's cold, baby. She's cold, man. She wears the whips and chains, and she's totally ruthless when anybody gets in her way. But a lot of people actually in the environmentalist movement think that Hillary's like, since she comes from the Democratic Party, she'll be against big oil encroaching in on our national parks and all this type of stuff. Nope. I'm just putting this out a little bit as conjecture, but I think I can read this lady left and right. So, and the other thing is, I'm going to say this. She's going to be number one warmonger president. You're going to see a total different directive, like the Obama administration, basically through Valerie Jarrett. I think maybe I'm saying her name wrong, but the one it's his main advisor, the one that led Obama's around in the beginning. Valerie was the attorney that brought the Obamas around in political circles in the beginning. Well, Valerie's born and raised in Iran, and she basically is one of the ones that insulates Obama from other people. And, of course, Obama has Muslim Islamic leanings. So the policy in the Middle East is totally different than what it'll be under Hillary Clinton. But I'm going to give you this deal. The big watchword is oil. Hillary is all in with the oil industry. Big time, man. Big time to the max, because she goes wherever the power is, man. Wherever the power is. If the power was with the flower people, she'd be in with the flower people. But nope, she's in with the oil industry. Democrat or not. Money rules, and when you want political power, you follow the money. I'm just giving you a straight, honest insight that I think a lot of people aren't going to say. And I lean more, let me put it this way. I'm for protecting the environment, but I'm not for global carbon taxes going to the United Nations, because I realize what that scam's about. Because actually, if you look back, I was surprised. I kind of put something out about so much for global warming and, the record snowstorm they had in Buffalo. But I was surprised at the number of people that are totally convinced by that. And I realize the vast number of scientists do say there's not global warming. They call it global climate change now. I know that. I mean, I'm aware of this. But I also am very much aware that how can they get the whole population of all these divergent nations, of all these diverse peoples, on the same page to fight for a cause? Well, it's got to be the environment. We don't really need crude oil, but they're gonna sell it to us. They're gonna make a lot of money on it, and at the same time, they're gonna tax us on it and restrict our freedoms because we use it. So I'm all for getting rid of the crap all the way, but it isn't going to be through the powers that be that do it. We're going to have to do some other things on our own. And I'm just a little insect trying to freaking fight back with these big guys. But anyway, I'm going to tell you, though, that the oil industry is actually in cahoots in some ways with the environmental industry, because it's all about money. And if you look at all the NGOs that are out there, non-governmental organizations that are basically foundations, organizations funded by big money, they're very, very plentiful. And the United Nations itself is very much in with the initiative towards, stopping global warming, global climate change, but they need to have funds to do so. So you're going to have a global tax. And once you have a global tax, once you have the power to tax, you have the power to control. See, that's my whole beef with it. But this lady, she's going to be in right with oil, but also in with the global initiative to bring about more restrictions on the environment at the same time. She's going to win, and she's going to act. The powers that be are going to be way behind her. I'll guarantee you that. Now, this is not actually Hillary Clinton. This is more of a Photoshop, if you haven't guessed. But they're going to make her look as good as possible to the population, and present her image, because I think the powers that be, which is both big oil, also which they're going to move into control of water, control of the environment, and she's in with them all the way, because she is a 100% total career politician. So you, as an individual, you need to stand by your money, which are safe, and your silver safe, and your Tommy gun to protect your resources, because we're going to have to be more like shrewd people that are fighting against this type of power. Because, well, let me put it this way: the people like Alex Jones are false opposition, and we shouldn't be like direct opposition. We got to be more like the French underground, that type of opposition, because it's like if you try to directly confront the powers that be, you're screwed, man. You'll get squashed. You got to go around it, and you got to outsmart them. You got to be like a rabbi, man. You got to be shrewd, man. So Rabbi Synergy is going to be fighting the powers of the dark forces of Hillary Clinton all the way. Now, I also want to state, I know a lot of people, I'm not actually against clean up the air. I mean, definitely not. I just realized they got a game going on here. And actually, I put some stuff out here I was talking about. I did this on my Jeep recently. This is pretty cool because this is HHO. And if you have a hard time starting your car, actually, this was something cool. Like, it produces a little bit of hydrogen, and when it mixed in with the gas, it gives you a little more efficiency by burning up the existing gasoline that's there. It gives you a little more mileage, gives you a little more clean burn on your fuel. And it's one step in the right direction. It's a minor step, but also it's so cool. You can actually... You don't need this stuff with HHO. Just leave that damn thing click on. It's like a you let this, just leave the key on, turn it on, makes like a hydrogen bomb in here. It'll start right up, man. Now the other thing is, I know like I had this Jeep a long time, and the best mileage, absolute best mileage I ever got was 27. Usually it's about 24, 25. So yesterday getting about 30, which is partly because of the Toyota car too. I know that. It's not all of the HHO. But here's my tire pressure. I didn't check these since last year. Watch this. Here's the gauge, right? You're looking at 20 pounds. So that was something I did personally. It was just a little bit, but I was kind of happy with it. Something to make something more efficient, as far as the internal combustion engine. But mark my words, Hillary Clinton is going to be enshrined by the powers that be as the great one. And the reason is, she's totally going to playing ball in every direction there is, and she's going to talk her way out of all opposition. In other words, she's going to be playing ball with big oil, and she's also going to be playing ball with the environmental movement, but by taxing you through, the United Nations and things like that, and we'll actually start giving up some of our political representation in government once we start getting taxation going to the United Nations. This lady is going to screw us up long term, but I'm going to tell you though, I think as individuals we could fight her back. But I think she's a shoo-in. So if you think, it's the end of the world that Hillary Clinton wins in 2016, it's not. She's probably going to win in 2020. She's probably going to win the next time, too, 2020. And it's going to be Hillary Clinton versus Vlad over there in Russia, for all I know, man. What a freak. But, to tell you the truth, they're all in cahoots with each other. They always have been. They always have been, man. And, the imagery for Hillary is going to be pushed, to make her look as good as possible, because she's going to go along with everything that's out there that's big money or big, basically the incentive today is through the UN to push for all this. Sustainable development actually is the watchwords. She's going to be for big oil and sustainable development at the same time, and she's going to hit you both ways. The other thing is, the United States is going to be a superpower as far as producer of oil, and we're going to wind up exporting it because we're going to wind up taking off most of the oil that's in the Middle East off the market through warfare. It may be the Sunnis versus the Shiites. It might be Saudi versus Iran. But once that happens and once that infrastructure is taken out and it's a little bit radioactive, it's not coming back for a long time. the USA is going to be the one that's going to be producing and making the most money on the oil. But you, as an average middle class person, is going to be getting screwed from every single direction. You know? So I'm just putting it out to you like this because the only way we're going to actually be able to fight this kind of garbage is hands-on. Now, I'm not going to be able to just fight them all by myself, but I'm just doing whatever piecemeal things I can do. But, you know, the other thing is, too, I'm going to suggest to you, and I'm going to probably do this later on maybe, start going with solar panels, piecemeal, and have your home not just 120 volt, but have it as a mixture of 12 volt and a 115 and 120. Because if you're doing direct 12 volt RV appliances for some of your homes and some of your lights, some of your appliances and some of the lights in your home and some of the conveniences, well, you don't need to be a licensed electrician to be working with a 12 volt. You can install all that yourself. So, you know, in other words, the best way to freaking choke off the beast is piecemeal. Piecemeal. You can't freaking stop the beast all the way, but it's almost like, you know, they have the Fabian Society. It brings about socialism and change, piecemeal, a little bit at a time. Well, the way to General Fabian actually was a Roman general, and General Fabian was somebody that realized that they could not fight Hannibal direct on because of what happened at the field of Cana, where the Roman army was crushed in a matter of a few hours because Hannibal had the double envelopment tactic, and they realized that, you know, Hannibal was too good of a strategist. But the way to fight these powers like Hillary Clinton is piecemeal, because we can save the environment and save us money at the same time. The way to do it is piecemeal. It's not like you're going to get the grand solution and say, oh, I got all the solution and I clicked on a button. You actually got to get out there and do stuff. I mean, I've been doing stuff here and there, and I've been making a lot of inroads on against this, but I do a lot of different measures I possibly can to save on electricity, whether it's through light bulbs, using laptop computers versus desktops, you know, also some on the fuel on a car, using a motorcycle and things like that. And by doing things like that, you will starve them off. And that's the way to do it. I don't care how cheap they make oil. I want to use it. Actually, I don't care if gasoline became $1 a gallon. If I had my way, I want to use none of it. Zero. So if you think I'm against the environmentalist movement, I'm not. I'm against the money going into the coffers of the United Nations under the guise of environmentalism, which will basically take away our freedoms, because the United Nations is nothing but a damn dictatorship. And that's what's going on with this Hillary. She's sucking up to those powers in the United Nations, and she's also sucking up to the powers of big oil. Big oil is actually going to put her in the White House and she's going to play the environment card too. But every which way she's going to play the card is going to cost you money. So the way I look at it is, you know, despite the image they're trying to project of this lady, you know, she's bad news and she's a wrinkled old hag that is grasping for the last gasp of power in her fat ego. And you, as an individual, need to protect your money and do it any possible way you can. And, you know, it may not be the head-on assault approach, but it's going to be the piecemeal approach, the Fabian approach. So, just want to give you a heads up about that. I think it's a shoo-in. This lady's going to make it. Because it might be Jeb Bush versus Hillary Clinton. And there's a lot of people who aren't going to vote for Jeb Bush, because it's like, how many times are you going to have a Bush as president? For crying out loud, it's ridiculous. You know? I think the next time, and if I'm disgusted with whoever's a libertarian, I'm going to vote for Mike. I'm going to write in Mike Tyson, just for the hell of it. You know? We never had a black president. It's a joke and a half, man. It's Obama, guy's freaking... He is like... I don't know what the hell this guy is, man. He's like... He's not even American, really. He's a Kenyan, man. He's a Kenyan. I'd rather have a true blue stand-up American in there in the White House. And, you know, if he's got the darker skin color, cool. Fine with me, man. I'm not against that, but I'm against this Kenyan usurper Marxist guy. He's bad news. And he plays and sucks up to everything there is. So when we got Hillary Clinton in office, she's going to be doing the same thing in a different way. The difference is the Kenyan guy was against big oil, but this lady, Hillary, is going to be for big oil all the way. And she's going to, you're going to see the Middle East erupt. It's going to blow up and do like all over the place because they're going to take the oil supply right off the market. I don't know. So, I mean, maybe that's when you're going to see the silver and gold go way up. But it's going to be difficult to say how high is high. But the political landscape is big time in favor of this lady winning. Big time. Big time. Like I said, from every angle, even though they seem like they're opposite angles, big oil and the environment, she's going to be playing both cards, but both ways she's playing those cards is going to be for her political power. And you're going to start being taxed on the environment more. And a lot of that's going to start going into the global governments. And once they could have a way to tax you, they're going to have a way to screw you over, man. That's why I realize a lot of these studies out there, when they're talking about the majority of scientists say this, they're paid off. They're paid, man. They don't get funding if they don't find the answer the right way. So I'm thinking outside the box. I'm pretty damn sure what's going on, and I see the shrewd games that are playing. Because the only way to actually unite the world under global, well, one of the ways, not the only way, but it's one of the good ways, simplest ways, to unite the world under global governments is through the environment. Because everybody's like, oh yeah, we need to protect the environment. We need to do this. And the next thing they're going to be doing is screwing around owning the water, because there's water shortages in India, Pakistan, and everything else, fresh water shortages. We got to quit freaking kowtowing to these yo-yos. This lady's evil, and she's going to win because she's going to be playing ball with the powers that be. And like I said, the Fabian approach is the best approach. You can't fight Darth Vader head on, but you can fight him piecemeal.